All right. I will pass over the admitting people duty to Ruby, and let's get started. Sorry about that. I had my laptop on all day, but of course, it says, oh, we're going to restart your computer now. So, great. Here we go. Done. Past that. Thanks, everybody, for showing up this morning. Before we jump in, well, the first bullet point after welcome and introductions and roll call, which, there's only two of y'all here, so I think we can do roll call pretty easy. The first item we're going to talk about is going over items that we may want to highlight or need additional information or input from the LAPAC on the second community survey. So I just wanted to double check to make sure everybody had time to go through that second community survey. The last few meetings, people had not had enough time yet, which I can understand. So we rescheduled those. But if you both have had a moment or had some time to review those, we'll jump into that today. And if not, we'll schedule another meeting to give people additional time. How feel you, Ed and Adeline?
I personally have not had a chance, just full disclosure.
No, yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. Well, I want you to have that chance because there's some really interesting stuff in the Lower Lake second survey, particularly as has to do with mitigating for wildfire. So I'm glad that Paul showed up today. Paul Duncan is with our GPAC group, but has been really diligent about joining us just to get a feel for what's going on with our LAPACs. So
can you send me that survey again? I don't know if
yep. Ruby is going to send that out to all LAPAC members again, so that it'll be at the top of your email.
Thank you.
Also, my pleasure, of course. Also, it is available on the lakecounty2050.org website, should somebody be interested that you run into before our next meeting.
Okay.
So, with the idea then of rescheduling to a later date, I'm going to take a look at the calendar, but I also wanted to bring up something that came up. Elizabeth Larson from Lake County News last night sent in an email with concerns that the virtual meetings are all during office hours, and a concern that maybe that could be keeping public members from joining us at these LAPAC meetings, which is one of our top priorities. So I was wondering, I was thinking today about maybe doing another doodle poll with any available evening hours that I have on my calendar for the next 3 weeks, and sending that out LAPAC wide to see if there's additional availability for our LAPAC members for evening hours. What do you guys think about that?
That's fine.
I would be good with that. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Me too. Just know that I'm usually available any evening, but next week I'm going to be going down to the Cal LAFCO conference, and I'll be gone all week.
That's totally cool. All right, well then don't check any of those doodle poll options for next week. No, but Ruby and I will gather everybody's input and start adding to the calendar with some evening virtual events. Might even be in person. I'm not sure. I'm wondering. I know that we do have 2 in-person all LAPAC meetings to talk about community growth boundaries, but I'm thinking that we may need a couple in-person ones that are LAPAC specific. So that means 1 meeting per LAPAC to talk about community growth boundaries and land use designation amendments while looking at our big maps and holding our Sharpies and Post-it notes so that we can do that. I'm thinking that we might need that, but
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take a look at my calendar and see what available options I have left to offer the LAPAC in the next 3 weeks. Unfortunately, while I do have core team members offering support on the placework side, the staff personnel supporting LAPAC meetings is me and thank God Ruby. So I am a little limited, but I know that we'll make it work. We only have like the next 3 to 4 weeks, so we'll do the best that we can with the time that we have. I've already told the board that just really don't talk to me for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Don't ask me anything because this is all LAPAC all the time. So we'll get it done. All right. Let's see. We're going to send you that email again. So that has the second survey. It also has the map. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to send you the map. Ruby, take that map out, because the maps I found are like 4 megabytes. That may be inhibiting people's ability to get the emails. So we're going to take the maps out. And those maps were something that we discussed in our LAPAC meetings last week, and the core team developed them. They are planning area specific that show the boundaries that were the boundary amendments that were proposed, as well as the existing planning area boundaries. It also has current, sorry, that's my puppy, current general plan land use designations as they are existing. So you can see what is currently existing, so that you'll have that in your mind when we talk about proposed changes. It also has an outline of what the local area plan update is going to look like, a structure, just to sort of help us wrap our heads around about what the final product is going to look like. And an attachment that has LAPAC input. So this is a list derived by the core team of what deliverables, what sort of information we're going to be looking for from our LAPACs as far as recommendations go, that will inform then the drafting of the local area plans that we'll be working on mid-November through December. So you're going to have plenty of good stuff to read. It's fascinating. It's awesome. I hope you love it. If you have any questions or anything that you find is not sufficiently in English, do not hesitate to reply to the email to let me know. And because I want to make sure that we all kind of progress together with the same understanding of terms and definitions.
You know,
that is all I have. Anybody?
My email has a limit of 5 megabytes on what it can receive. Maybe that's why I didn't get this prior thing. The map was included, but if the map was sent as a separate email, I could get it.
I think what we'll do is put in a link in the email to the lakecounty2050.org, and you can access the map that way. That'll be a lot easier. And then, you know, I don't even know if we have LAPAC members that are still on dial-up, but if they are, they're definitely not going to get that email. So, yeah, we'll make it as consumable an email as possible to make sure you receive it.
Great.
Did either of you have any further questions or suggestions? I am open to all suggestions.
You said something about wildfire risk. Was that something you saw more identified in the Lower Lake area? LPAC results?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if it just struck me in the Lower Lake area because they had some good suggestions, or if it's just kind of, if I've been seeing it with all of them and I just kind of woke up to the wildfire question this time. But I am intrigued by some of the write-in responses, as well as the commonalities of the priorities as far as it pertains to wildfire. So that's why I'm really glad that you are taking the time to attend our meetings, because we want to make sure that as we are developing our draft area plans, that we're in lockstep with CAL FIRE and reflect CAL FIRE priorities as well.
Sounds
or have
great.
those in consideration. So yeah, Paul, if you want the surveys, the community surveys are all available at the lakecounty2050.org, and the wildfire questions are towards the later part. I think there's like 28 or 30 questions per survey, and wildfire's down like in the late 20s, like 26, 28.
I did. I'm looking at the Lower Lake one now, and I'll review all those just to see. I do like the write-ins because it gives you a little bit more flavor than the survey itself does. So, no, I think there's great information in there, and I did see the map also. That did download for me, but that move on the Lower Lake Middletown boundary, I totally support that. So that's that is an area, and I don't think one of the questions was about moving it, and somebody referenced the school district in Lower Lake and the school district in Middletown. Well, we did. And the fire district did annex a bunch of Jerusalem grade, which may not be represented in this newest process. So that could be another item. Cool.
Yeah, I set that answer aside because the planning areas have nothing to do with school districts or their boundaries. But there was an interesting one. Sunrise Shores. You know that spot, Ed, that's down not quite at the gooseneck. Well, someone wrote in the fact that shoreline or Sunrise Shores is split between Rivieras and Lower Lake. And that's something that I had not realized. So we're going to add that to the list of when we're all looking at our maps in the all LAPAC, because that may be a a planning area boundary change that we want to make that hadn't made our list yet. But I think it's valid. You know,
I do too. I think they identify, Sunrise Shores identifies with Lower Lake, not the
exactly.
Riviera.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
too.
when I was working on a hydrant project, I think down there, it just does feel like Lower Lake, and I never hear from them. They're not represented in the Rivieras, so yeah, that's a change that does make sense. That I'm glad somebody took the moment to write it in. So those are the sort of things that we'll be looking at in our all LAPAC meeting. But there are other projects that have been suggested by the public for changes in our land use designations because they have either the property that they own is zoned or is designated in a way that doesn't allow them to use it the way they want to, or they are using it in some way that it was designated differently or stuff like that. That's another thing that I think might warrant an in-person hover over the map kind of with our Sharpies meeting. So yeah, but I already told you that. So we'll get to work on that today. I know. Sorry, I'm trying not to ramble.
That's fine. All right.
Does anybody else have any suggestions, recommendations, or something that I should be thinking about? If not, then I think we're going to conclude our meeting today. I really appreciate you two taking the time to show up. And we will send out that doodle poll shortly. I think we do have a second daytime virtual meeting scheduled for Lower Lake, so we're going to keep that. And we'll just be adding additional meetings with the evening hours. That'll be the idea for that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.